Hey, it is Friday, February 7th, the month of love, and I'm all about love. You know me. I'm the guy who likes to give you big hugs. I am Brannon Beliso. This is Success Never Sleeps, where we as a collective try to figure out this thing called life. Small business owners, in particular martial arts school owners, and I'm a very passionate soul about creating the balance in my life. Somebody asked me, you know, you make money. Is it all about the money? I said, no, it's about the freedom. I enjoy the freedom that money allows me. So when those opportunities present itself to generate additional revenue streams, things of that nature, I'm passionate not about just that. I love good work. I love living for my values and my purpose first. But if I can create more freedom for myself, for my family, even for my team, then it's something I'm always going to have an open mind to. And I think that's the biggest thing I share with school owners in particular in the martial arts industry that, as I always say, wouldn't you rather have the freedom to teach when you want to teach versus having no freedom because you have to teach? Think about that. Wouldn't you rather have the freedom to teach when you want to teach versus having no freedom because you have to teach? And then, of course, we can rationalize our behavior and simply say, yeah, well, I love to teach. I love to teach. I understand you do. But I love being with my family just a bit more. I love being at my children's, you know, Christmas presentation when they were 4, just a bit more than I do teaching. And once we recognize that in our own personal value system, then we can begin to plot out the path to achieve that. Cool? All right. And we're going to get into that today. Because it's all going to be all about leveling up your instructors team. But let's thank our sponsors who I love dearly, dearly. Tusa, of course, Tusa. I just spoke to the CEO yesterday, for a matter of fact, and I love them. They are a family business, much like I'm growing up in my family martial arts school. I run my business as a family. They are a great family business. They supply the uniforms and equipment to the Olympians for Taekwondo, and they've branched out into karate and judo, and they're really starting to create products that I believe are quality and I'm proud of outside the Taekwondo industry. So for those of you looking for a vendor, don't think that that's all Tusa does, because it simply is not. It is not. And you can DM me personally. I can make the introduction for you, and that conversation can be entertained. Market Muscles, of course, simply the best in website. I was looking at some of the new updates. It's mind blowing. And as they branch out into the dance industry, which is kid centric, right? They're gathering more data on how parents think and behave when it comes to their children and the activities that they choose. So, what I'm enjoying about it is, yes, it's martial arts centric, but the research and data and what they're gathering through AI is also looking into the minds of moms into dance and finding the common threads between moms and dance, moms and martial arts, producing moms and soccer and everything else to help create these amazing websites that ultimately do what? Generate leads. Okay. Again, if you're interested in Mark and Muscle, you can DM me. I know Stephen, I've got his phone number. I can call him right now and say hello. My studio is another one. Tule, I love him like a brother. And two in the gang there just doing things that I believe are phenomenal. I saw yesterday, they just moved over to the Stripe platform, and some people got charged fees and late fees and things like that. And he said, we will take care of that. That level of accountability, that level of um, is just unequaled in many ways. And so I applaud my studio. Kids Love Life Skill, my sister Letitia, my niece Lisa, Marco, Amy, me, Chris, the gang that runs Kids Love Life Skills. And Chris, it's again a family. We're a family. I'm very big on family. It's super powerful, and we're getting ready to lease our subscription, right? Like that wine company used to say, no wine before it's time. We're really close to offering you an experience that's going to position you as the life skills education leader in your community. And once we can do that, we are no longer an extracurricular activity like soccer, baseball, dance, or anything else. We now become this true investment for a child's development. LC Accounting, my sister Letitia, again, a family business. She's done my bookkeeping for years now, keeps me on the straight and narrow, and looking at the results are only just a little short of phenomenal. So I'm grateful for that. And last but not least, Kin Creative. I just got back from Canada. We had our first mastermind with Kin Creative, and I was just humbled. It is truly a family. They have family, one jujitsu school, one taekwondo school. Their offices are above the schools where they run Kin Creative. I was at his mom's house. I was at Adam's house, the CEO. And it truly is a family of people that love each other, but that love radiates out into every client that we work with at Kin Creative. So you're looking for digital media, your Facebook ads, your Instagram ads, please don't hesitate to DM me on that. Cool. Yeah, I wanted to take that time to say that and about each of our sponsors because you look at them as a name. I look at them as a family. And my choice to work with them over these years, my relationship has been close to a decade with Market Muscles, as well as my studio, as well as LC Accounting. Tusaw, my father was their first client for his dad when they first opened Vision, and that's what it was formerly called. And Kin Creative, the young kids on the block, nonetheless, still rooted in good family values and people I love and care about dearly. And that's where I choose to operate from. So when we talk about love this month, you know, it's super important. Love doesn't pay the rent. Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does. It does pay the rent if done right, right? If you love something enough, aren't you going to fill in the blanks and get the skill sets you lack? And so I don't understand that in the martial arts industry. And this is going to go into leveling up your team. I don't understand if you love martial arts so much and you want to make it a business so you can impact a bigger audience, why would you not get the skill sets of being a great business owner to do that? Why would you not learn the skill sets of being a great level 5 leader if you knew that? Why? If you love the martial arts so much and you want to make it your life and your business to impact others. And I'll go deeper. If you love your family so much, why would you not get the skill set needed needed to design curriculum at the highest level if you knew it was going to grow not only your community but your bottom line and in return would help your family? So again, when I talk about love, I'm humbled enough to know that the power of love has the bottom line to really help me make the changes in my mindset in my life to go out there and grow my businesses to create what? Freedom. Because I love freedom more than anything. I love the freedom that I enjoy in my life today. Cool? Cool, cool, cool. Hey, who do we have here? We got Bob Poole from Gold's Martial Arts, Jason Smith, Believe Martial Arts, Chipley, Florida, and my friend from, 40 years ago, Roy, who does insurance and helps people with their financial planning. All good people. If you've come aboard and you're here, do say hello. Do say hello. Do say hello. Do say hello. So, what is it all about? It's all about leveling up your instructor team, right? And I think I want to kind of do some reverse engineering on that. It all begins with why. Why do I want a great instructors team? Well, selfishly, because I like freedom. That's number one. The freedom I have to spend with my family, to go to my son's basketball game. I can't do any of those things, hang out with my daughter. I can't do any of those things unless I have a great team teaching great classes, which generates great revenue, right? That's the bottom line. The bottom line, I watch so many school owners go do things outside their business, and they leave somebody in charge that's not properly trained. And then they watch their numbers drop. And they say to me, well, the school always does better when I'm teaching. Well, that's great for your ego. I'll give you that one all day, every day. But the truth of the matter is that is a direct indication you do not have a proper system in place to train a team to do it better than you. So write that down because I think that's one of the biggest hindrances in so many businesses. And that goes right down to the pizza parlor where only dad can make the best pizza dough, right? So it comes down to that realization that for me, freedom to spend with my family is what it's all about. It's all about, right? So I understand that clear and simple. And once you rectify that, then you begin down that path. Cool? So The next thing that comes with that, which is a really tough one, but I'm going to put that out there because I am the one that creates controversy, not on purpose, but I tend to be very controversial in my mindset in the martial arts industry. So you call it leadership, you call it maybe a black belt club, you call it a master's club, right? And you're teaching them to be instructors. And here's how the scenario goes in my eye. I'm going to upgrade you. So you'll pay me an extra $100 a month to be part of this elite leadership team group club. In exchange, you need to volunteer 3 hours a week, whether it's birthday parties, classes. Okay, so let me get this straight. I'm going to pay you more money and then give you 3 hours of my valuable life to do your internship. Come on, think about that for a moment, people. Are you with me? It's not like I'm in college in my third year as a junior and I'm going to intern at Apple because I want to work for Apple. And Apple will still pay me something, right? So come with me on that. And I witness that all the time, and they stoically look at me like I'm nuts. Well, that's my leadership program. They're getting all this value. Yes, they are. And then you're going to make them teach for free and volunteer their time for free. Okay. I disagree with you. I disagree with you. And I'll stand toe to toe with anybody on that. So here's what I think is fair. And the other thing, when you do this instructor's training on a Saturday afternoon for 2 hours, when, I'm a kid and you want me to be in your school for 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon after classes because it's convenient for you, absolutely not. So what do we do? Well, we ask for 45 minutes a week where we will, like any other class, regular, your condition, you've been coming to classes for years, right? 45 minutes, a 45-minute class. We conveniently put it right after your sparring class, right? The bulk of our instructors in training all are in certain classes. So we conveniently, you go from your regularly scheduled class into instructors training. 45 minutes. We still have classes going on in the facility, so we're not taking a prime time away. But we have this instructor's training. So it's convenient. And convenience is very important at that age, okay? Very important at any age. So that's the first big thing. And then in exchange, clean exchange for a 45-minute class, which you don't pay for, but you're getting all this valuable leadership and all these things you need. We ask for 45 minutes in exchange. You can't produce a more equal exchange possible. And the parents get that. I think the only challenge with that is they conveniently want to volunteer their time right before their class, right? Say they got a class at 5:30. Oh, can I volunteer for the class at 4:45? So we want to make sure that we spread these instructors in training out. So we try to block those time slots off so not one person can get them. We even let them rotate. You all want that time slot before your regularly scheduled class? Here's how it goes. Are you with me on that? And, feel free to put questions in there. What's up, Miss Moeek? Karate for Girls in Conrad, Respect Martial Arts in California. And again, folks, as you come aboard, say hi. Let me know where you're at. So that was the first thing for me because I looked at it and I just, that's not right. That's all I kept saying to myself. I don't know what it is yet because I'm not educated enough. I don't have my instructor's training experience, but that's not right. It's just not right. But as I begin to cultivate ours, it's been well over 15 years now, I began to see, what was the best way to integrate kids, right? Predominantly, right? High school kids, no work experience. They'd rather TikTok and Pokemon out than they would spend time in your school beyond what their parents make them do at that point. And so I was mindful of that. So again, I think empathy is super important when you design this instructor's training experience. People say, well, what? What do you mean empathy? Well, right down to the schedule. I'm empathetic to the parent that it's not very convenient to bring them in on a Saturday afternoon from 1 to 3 when they'd rather do something for the family or go see grandparents or something else. So if I conveniently put it right after your regularly scheduled class, right, the bulk of them, you're going to miss a few, that I would get more people to want to attend. And if all I asked in exchange was a fair, equal exchange of 45 minutes to volunteer to help in a class, then, then and only then. Now, in our instructors training experience, we train them in small chunks. So what I mean by that, for me, I earned a black belt. My dad said, go teach. I said, what do you mean go teach? You're a black belt, go teach. I've never taught a class in my life. So I don't get it. And so I was pretty much thrown to the wolves. And what I learned by that trial by fire is this: I need to meet people where they're at. And as I say in the saying, if I want an elephant to fail, I'll make him climb a tree. Do not throw your team to the wolves. So, how do I advocate for that? Well, I make sure that I bring them along slowly. So imagine this: the first 3 months, and now it's actually stretched out to 6 in many cases. The first thing you learn how to do systematically, and we have systems for all these things, you learn how to greet people at the front door, you learn how to tie their belt, and you learn how to take attendance. Talk about the lowest barrier of entry for instructors in training, which is predominantly what? Teenagers, right? You'd agree with me, right around the teenage years, 14 on up. So the lowest barrier of entry, the lowest pressure, right, that you could possibly put. And again, we're telling a story. I want to bring you along. I want to meet you where you're at. You with me? And so that became really, really important because a lot of the parents that will ask, can my child do the instructors in training, or the ones we advocate and invite, they're not the best martial artists in the world, but they have some of the character traits that we seek. Number one, reliability. We had one young man pass up a bunch of our black belts, right? He wasn't even a black belt yet. He was in black belt prep. He is now in a paid position because he's reliable. We can go to him when we need a birthday party and he's available. We can ask him to teach a class and he's there. Whatever we're working on, whether it's a live talk or a drill, he's always the first to know it well. So he passed up a bunch of people. Yeah. And when you sit there and let your black belts, because of their rank, is higher than somebody else, but they're the biggest pain in the butt to get them to come in and teach. And it's just, it's toxic for my instructor's training experience. In the words of Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately? Do not sit on the laurels that you are a black belt and you've been training for 10 years. No. Are you available to teach? Are you teachable? Do you show initiative? Right? Those are the things we look for in somebody that's going to teach in our school today. Are you with me? So I think that dynamics culturally needs to be mitigated. 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 When I first had my first location, I had picked up a bunch of instructors from my father's school, and they were old dogs set in their ways, hitting the white belt in the head on the first night. I got rid of them. If they weren't teachable and they weren't willing to, you know, reinvent themselves, I got rid of them real, real fast. It's the same thing here. I know you probably have several of those instructors in your school right now that work a day job. They come in there and they play Superman and they get all this attention and authority because somebody at work's telling them what to do all day. So they come into your school and they boss people around, right? And they walk around like an alpha male or female. So again, culturally, we've restructured that. It's based upon performance, not time, not tenure. And I really learned that about tenure, other than in the martial arts industry and in the teaching industry. Once you get your 2 years in, you're tenured in. So fundamentally, unless you do something extremely inappropriate, the union will protect you and no one's going to fire you as a teacher. I think that's appalling. I think teachers should be made to learn, every year, new teaching techniques, communication, all those different things that come along with being a great teacher. Yet, that's not the case. Our industry is even worse. Even worse. Even worse, even worse. Somebody's trying to make their son teach right now who doesn't want to teach, who doesn't want to be part of the family business. When you've got this rock star right there, who you're going to basically, what is the word for it? um, jade because they watch you try to insert your son there when he feels like it and it's convenient, right, for him to help teach in the family business when you got this rock star right there. My kids don't teach in my school. They're into black belt. I said, "What do you want to do?" Right? And one chose basketball, one chose soccer. They don't even do martial arts anymore. I'm fine with that. And they would never walk in and have a job over somebody that's shown loyalty and showing teachability. No way. There's just no way. That doesn't even make any sense to me. Yet I watch school owners do this time and time and time again. You with me? So write that down. Okay. So we want to meet them where they're at. We want to bring them along slowly. We want to make the time for training convenient, right? We want to do it in smaller chunks and we want to make it obtainable. I believe greeting people at the front door is the lowest barrier entry you could possibly have in our company, short of doing what? Standing there and holding up the wall, right? Right? So again, meet them where they're at. I understand teenage boys are awkward. Teenage girls are awkward. They're used to texting. They're used to being on the phone. And now with the pandemic, it's another story. So we bring them along. We teach them how to stand. We teach them physiognomy. We look in the mirror. Tell me, assess your facial expression. Do you think that's welcoming? Well, what is welcoming? Well, I'm really happy to be there and I want to be in this place. Look at your face. And we break it down to that micro level because we understand that's who we're working with. Okay? Now, let's go through that hierarchy for a moment. All right. We talk about the ABC student. A student attends all his classes, on the competition team, comes to all the workshops, earns his belts and stripes on time, and he's just a rock star. B, kind of in the middle, right? They get 3/4 of their stripes during review month for month. They're making up those stripes. They attend about 80% of their classes. C player attends 60% of their classes. They're always behind on the curriculum playing catch up. Well, people look at their team the same way. I have the C player. Let's say, in this case, it's Mr. Castro. He's retired, teaches an hour a week if he's available. That's it. Okay? I have kickboxing instructors, teach 1 hour a week, one class. Are they any less valuable as somebody that's working for me full time? No, they're just as valuable. I love these people. When they are in our school, I'm grateful for the contribution they make to one martial arts. The B player, and this is where most of us sit. The B player is the high school kid, probably gets a black belt at 14, maybe 15. And then we know they're good at least through their senior year of high school, right? If we're lucky. They will work a couple hours a week. They'll probably work summer camp and do 20 to 40 hours a week because there's no hour limit during the summer. Um, but I think the biggest thing I recognize with that avatar, if they hit us up on a Friday night and go, "Oh, I'm sorry, professor, I can't teach tomorrow because my parents say we're going to our grandparents." Do we get mad at them? Awesome, sir. Thank you for letting me know. And if I have to insert myself in there, it'll happen. It'll happen. Right? We used to have a standing rule that if you can't work a shift, as long as you get somebody to replace you, then we're cool. We don't do that anymore. Not after the pandemic. We work down to that level. And people say, well, you're totally spoiling them and working them and they're entitled. No, we're not. What are we about? Freedom. So, are we mindful to have 10 of those kids instead of 5? Yeah. Yeah. Because if one of them hits us up on a Friday night and says they got to go to their grandparents tomorrow, we have a pool, a resource that we could probably pull from. You with me? So that's super important. And then that B player, let's talk about them for a minute. When they graduate from high school, if we can convince them to go to a local college for at least 2 years and their parents will save money on dorm, right? Everything that goes with that, with still living at home, going to a community college, and we're going to pay them this much if they can give us 20 hours a week, it's a win-win, right? And let's say hypothetically, after those 2 years, they go away to college. Well, guess what? You have a built-in summer job if you would like, and we'll get them for the first 3 years of college until they start doing internships for their major, right? As you can see, I've been through all of this. And so we're good with that too. because that way we keep this robust team of experienced people that get our culture, get our core values, get our why. But that requires us to be a little bit more fluid in that. Okay. And then our A players. That would be TJ and Lucas for me predominantly. TJ and Lucas are full time salary based employees. One runs one location, one runs the other. But I cross my team at both locations because my rock stars, I want them to be at both locations. TJ and Lucas, they do very well. Very well. Probably at the top of our industry as far as pay goes for what they do, right? They both own homes, they both have babies, and it's a good day. I'm happy to be part of that and helping fulfill their dreams. So I think that's the biggest part of that. I would never say to my team, well, when we get to, 550 students, I'll pay you more. When we get to 600, I'll pay you more. Absolutely not. I need to know what their needs are today within reason, and I'm willing to pay them whatever is necessary because I like what? Freedom. I would never say, well, a personal trainer makes this much or a kindergarten teacher makes this much. Absolutely not. And the average tenure on our team is approaching about 15 years now. Again, I'm extremely proud of that. I'd rather have 35% net of $2 million than a 50% net of 100,000. You with me? So again, that mindset shift became monumental for me and what I do. I studied McDonald's, and the average McDonald's is generating $2 million a year, yet the franchisee takes home 150K. Wow, so that's appalling, right? But again, freedom. He might need 3 or 4 McDonald's to accomplish that, but he has freedom, 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 and more freedom, right? So stop stepping over a dollar to pick up a penny. Cool? All right. So, what are some of your takeaways up to this point? I know I've launched into a lot of different things, and really the nuts and bolts of training a team is not that big of an issue, but we'll get into that in a minute. What are your big takeaways? Give me a few of them. And while I wait for you to put them in there, Marco, let's mention our It's Time group mentoring, which I'm very proud of. It's starting to grow. We're adding more people slowly and organically. We're 4 people that own schools. We're 4 people that are in your back pocket 24/7, 365, helping you work on all aspects of your business. This month, it's branding. We've covered systems. We've covered culture. We've covered, the why. We've covered everything it takes to be a successful martial arts school owner. But the best part is we are in the trenches just like you on a daily basis. So we don't sit in a glass house and hypothesize. If I sit in a glass house and I'm not even in tune, I don't ever teach, I'm not on the mat, then you know what I have to do? Make shit up. Or even worse, grab stuff from 20 years ago and put a bow on it, a new bow on it, and say, I've cracked the code and I've got this magical, mythical new way of running business in the martial arts industry, and then I sell it to you. I'm not about that. Steve Jobs was a hand on owner, right? Look at freaking Elon Musk sleeping on the floor of Twitter, right? He's one of the richest men in the world, but he did that when he first bought X. So for me, that is vital to our industry and it's vital to what we do. There needs to be a certain amount of hands-on to be able to walk your walk and talk your talk and own it. So for the consultants that don't, I challenge you. I will challenge you day in and day out with some of your methodologies, your strategies, your teaching, because you know what? You're clueless because you don't even involve yourself in the daily operations at all. And that's my take on that. So all of us, I can say proudly, we're there. But like I said in the meeting today, we're one text away because you might be sitting there 10 at night trying to work on something in your business. And if we can just be there for you, and that's the breakthrough to take you to the other side and move your mindset from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset to actually see that you're making headway in the growth of your business, then I want to be at the end of that call when you text. And that's what I think what we do is so special in relationship to that. Cool. So what are some of the answers we got, Marco? What are the big takeaways up to this point? What you got for me? Love it, Conrad. Love the input. Happy to report we have eliminated many of the procedures you mentioned. A lot less stress in running this school. Yeah, because running a small business is stressful. But do I want to mitigate that stress so it's a fun, a happier ride? Absolutely. Absolutely. And anytime I'm really stressed about something, that means I need to write a better system. That means I need to train the team better. That means I need to rewrite the system, right? All of it. And I don't get bummed out. I go, yeah, right on. We're going to make this better in the business. We're going to make this better in the business. And the band played on, right? So I don't have problems, I have challenges. And that mindset shift was crucial because if you go to your team and say, we have a problem, everybody gets bummed out. If you go as a team, hey, team, we have a challenge, and we approach it that way, the potential is unlimited. What other comments do we have? What are big takeaways up to this point? Anybody? Come on, don't make me call you out because I'm Miss Moweek. What are some of the takeaways up to this point? We haven't even gotten into the nuts and bolts of it, but what have we really gathered from this? Anybody? And while I wait for that, Marco, share with them what's coming up. It's Time Life Freedom, appropriately named, November 8th through 11th, right here in Millbrae, California. We've done these for about 8-9 years. They sell out, only 20 school owners. It'll sell out again. Marco, if you have that, I think it's a direct link to sign up and invest in the event. Only 20 people, and success is something you plan for. And this might be in November, but you don't want to miss out. You want to be one of those 20. That's our discipline. We live and die by it, and that's the success of the event. People say, why is it 4 days instead of 2s? It is. It's like a 4-day retreat. You go down that rabbit hole and you really, 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 you break yourself down to build you back up. I'm huge on that. I'm huge on that. And the success of this event has been attended by school owners as far as Sweden, Germany, Canada, all over Australia. And they come from, they make this pilgrimage to spend these 4 days with us because it really is life changing. So get signed up for that. What does Miss Moweek have to offer us? The team is the heartbeat of the school, and we have to take care of them. Team. Together, everyone achieves more. Yeah, absolutely. Nobody calls me the boss. I change in the same dressing room as the guys when, we get out of it when the girls are there. But I change with the team. I wear the same uniform as the team. When I step on the mat, I don't step on the floor like, Professor is here. Let's part the Red Sea. I step on that mat and I say, ma'am or sir, depending who's leading the class, where can I best serve? And they'll always give me the new beginners, and I'm good with that. I'm always good with that, right? I'm good with that. And once we can embrace that, because Richard Branson of Virgin Airlines, really, really professed that. He said, if my team is successful, they'll take care of the passengers, right? The customers on this plane. But if my team is not successful, then there's no way they can serve the people that fly our airlines very well. And if you find yourself saying, well, they should know that by now, it's common sense, or even worse, I might as well do it myself, then you fall into this martyr victim mindset. And a victim mindset cultivates nothing. A victim mindset is unhealthy. And so I live by the habit, this habitual thinking. 90% of what goes wrong in my business is my fault. The other 10% is my fault. So it really gives me the ability to know that there's certain visionary work I must do in my businesses that will move that needle. And the instructors training to level up your instructors team is just that. Now, we all probably have some type of instructors training, correct? So I understand if I write something, we've already done what? Take attendance, tie belts, and greet people at the front door. First 3 to 6 months, right? Low barrier, less stress for them to handle. If I want someone to quit my instructors training right away, throw them in front of a class and tell them to go. Okay, don't do that. So what do we do after that 3 to 6 months? Well, they go from being a junior leader to being a junior assistant. Now, a junior assistant can do what? Warm up the class and lead the stretch. Now, why is that super important for you single operators out there? Because it's low barrier again. You don't need a 9th-degree black belt leading the warm up or doing the stretch. What I need is to write an amazing system and have a consistent warm up and stretch. I watch schools change their warm up and stretch all the time. If you look at it, when I studied fitness, the first thing they taught me in the Northern California sports medicine, was that the body's not ready to do 50 different things it's never done before. Create a systemized warm up that does what it's supposed to do. What do we need for young people? Get them oxygenated, right? Get that blood flow going. And really, the stretching part is not that much when you're 7 years old and everything's pliable and you're like Gumby. But you do want to do a certain amount of stretching because it creates safety. I want to create the safest class possible. But here's the advantage of that. If I create a warm up, right, that is always the same, guess what? I can train the team on it. And guess what? They're going to get better and better and better at it each class. So there's a real advantage to that. Again, the win-win. I took care of the team, I took care of the customer. But if I'm changing the warm-up every couple of months, that's not a good day. It's simply not a good day. You with me? And I saw that yesterday. We're in sparring class and everyone's got gloves on doing, and he tells them to do finger push-ups. And I looked at the guy like, what? How? What? They got gloves on. They can't do finger push-ups. And we took them out. So whose fault is that? He didn't know? Mine. All mine. Mine and all mine. So as I videotape our warm-up and I review the warm-up, I'm going to be singing that song. I'm going to be campaigning, and everybody and their mother will know that we don't do finger push-ups anymore, especially in a sparring class when they got gloves on. See, so I'm not, not at fault for that. I'm always dealing with challenges like this in our business. Okay. So the next one is what? The warm up. Now, what do we really need to do? Right? Again, it should be age specific and skill level specific. Do your homework. Do your homework. Right? Do your freaking homework and make sure that that warm up achieves the goals it needs. And we tend to lean into very standard things like jumping jacks, push ups, knee ups. Why? Because they do that probably in their middle school. They do that in soccer. They do that in baseball. When I watch someone doing some weird pseudo Krav Maga jiu-jitsu warm-up that looks like you're, morphing into a Power Ranger, some weird ass stuff, I'm challenged by it. I've never done martial arts, and you want me to do some weird thing across the floor that you call a warm-up, I call just jargon. Right? If I'm a parent, I want this kid to be successful right now. I'm a teacher. I want you to be successful. Tell me to do freaking jumping jacks. You with me? You with me? And as I go down that rabbit hole of ChatGPT, I've asked it 50 different which ways. What is the best warm up for a children's physical activity like martial arts? They all say jumping jacks. Okay, let me try that again. If you're doing a jiu-jitsu class, what is the best warm-up for a kid that's 7? Jumping jacks. Okay, let me try this again. More specifically, I teach Kenpo karate. What is the best warm-up for kids? Jumping jacks. Okay. So after going down that, I recognize a jumping jack is a staple. It is a standard, and it's something everybody, no matter what their age or skill level, for the most part, 3 and 4-year-olds can do a jumping jack. They'll feel extremely successful with. You with me? So I think when you design that warm up by designing a warm up that serves its purpose, age specific, skill level specific, is rock star. Then I set about how do I teach my team to be successful? Do it with them. That's it. Don't talk. You're not a guy like me teaching 5 hours of classes in a given day, and I need to take a breather during this next warm up so I can instruct it verbally. No, no, no. You lead by example. So they do the warm up with them. That's all. They don't stand there and walk around, which is useless. They do everything in the warm up with them. So again, when you're training them instructors training experience, isn't it really, really familiar to them? Because they've done that in every class they attend. All the physical that is built into their muscle memory, they know how to do. So if you train them that way to do it with them, and when we go through instructors training and they rotate and they take turns leading on the warm up, they're not standing there verbalizing it. They're doing it with them as they call it out. And so that is a non-negotiable. If I ever see an instructor just standing there, unless it's a seasoned veteran, not doing the warm up with them, we have a conversation. We have a conversation, right? and leveraging that. Who could do a better push-up than me? Who could do jumping jacks faster than me? Man, if you guys can do more jumping jacks than you're going to see Professor do 10 push-ups. Who wants Professor to do 10 push-ups? Gamifying it like that is super cool. And if you're doing it with them, that is the highest level of leadership out there. If all you do is dictate to your team what they should do, right, and how they should do it, and your belly hangs over your belt and you haven't seen your toes in 6 years, you and I have an issue. Unless it's medicinal or a thyroid, I don't believe a martial artist should be out of shape. Fitness is one of the key components we sell, right? So I'm not going to ask you to do 10 push-ups. I'm going to get down right next to you and do those 10 with you. That is level 5 leadership. And that is, again, something I find that is pretty rampant in our industry, right? And that's off the subject, but there's a lot of out of shape martial arts instructors. I don't understand that. That's like being a doctor that doesn't practice medicine. It doesn't make sense to me at all. So again, in this instructor's training experience, I will get right down there on the floor with them and do that warm up and lead them through that warm up. So I think it builds a better martial arts instructor as we move into, again, steps, right? Take attendance, tie belts, greet people, low barrier entry, not a lot of expectations, a lot of room for growth and learning and planting those seeds. That warm up is a super, super bridge to the next level, right? If I can get you to teach the warm up and stretch very successfully and you feel so empowered, you're just like, man, Scooby Doo with a Scooby snack. You're so empowered. Then to move you into the next phase, today we're working on Yellow Stripe 13, right? Mr. Lee, come up and demonstrate it. You've done that since you were a white belt. So to demonstrate any given stripe, you should be able to do so at performance level. This is what it looks like to earn this stripe. It's like freaking Michelangelo spinning nunchucks. It's the opening of a Marvel movie. You want them to step up to the plate, demo that technique so every kid's going, wow, I want to learn that. You with me? Right. So again, when we work on it in the back, in our instructors training, we coach them through it. This is what it should look like. This is what we call performance level. That's what we call it when we're tipping out, performance level, which is a whole nother level. So then they're okay when I'm training the team, right? This is the learning stage. Okay, great. This is the drilling stage. Okay, this is the reviewing stage. Okay, now you perform it. So I can't get them to that level of performing unless I put the other things in place first. Take attendance, tie belts, greet people. Great. Warm up and stretch. Great. Now I can demo a technique. See, the sequential order that you put it in is really, really vital if you want to level up your team. Okay? Now, with that said, what I want to lean into there also that I think is really, really, real important is that for my team, Michael J. Fox said it so well. If kids don't learn the way you teach, teach the way they learn. I recognize I'm in a room of 10 individuals, not a group of 10 people. So I'm mindful. And that's why some people will get out of junior leader in 3 months. Some people get out of junior leader in 6 months. Some might take a little longer, right? If they're busy with cross country or something else along the way. But I'm very passionate about meeting people where they're at, because if I do that and I'm not judgmental, I don't stress them out, I bring them along, they're more likely to become a better instructor. And they're more likely to be empathetic towards the students when they work with them, right? Cool. Now, the other reason it's sequential like that is because in between classes or prior to a class, I'm still on the mat or our lead guys are on the mat. We can't take attendance. We can't tie belts. We can't greet people. We're busy teaching. And as soon as that class ends, it is monumental for you, if you're, a one person show, to have that peace of mind, knowing I have 10 minutes, well, 8 minutes for us, 8 minutes to use the restroom, drink some water. I keep, a small bag of nuts so I can keep food in me. I have a jug of water nearby and my tea. So in between classes, I'm refueling and I'm mindful of that. Or I go talk to a parent. But that peace of mind, knowing I have those 8 quality minutes to reboot for the next class, makes me a much, 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 much better instructor. Cool. Hey, Josh. What's happening, Josh? Josh in Oxnard, California. Um, so I just wanted to throw that. Anybody else come aboard? Do say hello. I love that you're here. Let us know that you're here. Amen to working out with the students. Yeah, yeah, leadership by example. I stand there walking around barking orders and dictating. Bad day. Bad day. But we did that yesterday. We got through learning the stripe and it was really good. And then I said, okay, here's performance level. And I did it with them and left them in the dust. Now, that doesn't feed my freaking ego. I just went, ooh, wasn't that cool? Well, you don't have to do it as fast as Professor. I've been doing it a long time, but hopefully it'll inspire you to do that. Sound good? All right. Then I stepped back and said, all right, who could do it, at your best performance level? And they all did it incrementally better because I just gave them an example that inspired them, right? Big difference. I could have launched into, well, how come you can't do it? I'm an old guy. No, it was to inspire them, right? So big difference. It's how you present it. So I'm very mindful when I design this instructor's training experience, starting from square one. Why do we have this? Square two, who are the players? What levels are they at, that ABC instructor? And then three, understanding about meeting them where they're at. Yeah, that was so vital. It's so vital in our success. And we can say the instructors that we do have, our bench is strong. We had a couple kids go off to college, really, really good instructors in San Francisco. And the bench was deep. And we were able to put somebody right in their place. Because we're mindful, if this senior is leaving, right? There's 18 years old. I am not putting in a 15-year-old kid to replace them. No freaking way. I want somebody who's 17 going into their senior year of high school that's as badass as that 18-year-old who just left. Can anybody see that? So we're mindful. We have 17-year-old, 16-year-old, and 15-year-olds. Couple of 14-year-old ones in there. But make no mistake, if I'm going to charge you $269 a month, the core guys up top, are 30, 32, full-time. This is their life. The next ones, they work a day job and they're in their mid-20s and they really love what they do. One is in his 20s and he's, roughly doing 25, 30 hours a week. The other one works with special needs kids as a preschool teacher and is happy with the supplemental income, right? Because they need it. They need it. Most preschool teachers don't make a lot of money. So it's such a win-win. And I'm always looking for the win-win in our culture, in our team, in our family, as we call it. Cool? All right. What are our other takeaways up to this point as we come to the end of this? And then I'll go to the next level. Put it in there. So we covered 0 to 6 months, depending how fast they move, right? Take attendance, tie belts, greet people. The next 6 months, warm up, stretch, being able to demo the technique. All right. Next level, holding pads, right? We do that in instructors training because I think the big thing when we do it, and that's why I'm a huge advocate of a weekly instructors training versus a monthly, because we can sit there and say, next week, this is the tip we're working on for the year 1 class, the year 2 class, the year 3 class, the year 4 class. We only go over that. And more specifically, stay with me now, I will ask the room, which class do you volunteer in? And if the majority of them are a beginner class, I'm working more focused on the stripe that they're going to be teaching next week. If it's year 1, same thing. But I'm ever mindful. Odds are, if you're a kid volunteering to help in a year 3 and 4 class, you're probably a first degree black belt at that point, right? You with me? You with me? So training them is a lot faster and quicker and easier at that point. Right down to what pad do we use? It's very specific. I want to set my people up for success. I was doing that yesterday. I knew on this drill I wanted to use the clappers. It was something off the cuff because I saw the group and I knew, I can do that. I can break from the script. I pulled out the clappers. I put them at the end of each row because we go down the row. And here's a monumental one. How many you do, let's say, a front kick drill and you do a set of 10? Put it in the comments. You do it to 10. Anybody? 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 Nobody? Okay. We do it in sets of three. For example, we're teaching a front kick. Right? I was doing that yesterday. My team knows. I call out one, the kids say front one. I call out two, they say front two. I say three, they go ayah. You want that last one to be the best one, and you want it to be dynamic. In the old days when we did 10, I'm going down the line, front kick one, two, go to the next kid, three, four, go to the next kid, five, six, go to the next kid, seven, eight. And if that line is long, guess what? I have to start over from one. But what this does, it tells the story. The beginning is that first front kick. The middle is the second front kick. The last one is Yuki-ai. Then, of course, 3x3 roll. I look you in the eye, appropriate touch, give me a double high five on the clappers, and I tell you, I say your name. So that little set of three has become a game changer because I've got this great team with me and we're going down this line in sets of three, and they know that. And they know when you complete the three after that big ki, right? It's like the end of a Transformer movie, a quick high five. And you praise them. See? So that set of three changed everything in the drills we design. And you don't just always want them on a bag. Okay? So again, smaller chunks, smaller chunks, smaller chunks. They know if they're at the end of a line, they're going to do sets of three because I'm leading that. And we all lead that. You with me? You with me? So, teaching for me, and I'll kind of segue into this. We only got 8 minutes left for today's show. Teaching for me is really the key to our success. And if you don't know this by now, please write it down. The core product we deliver is martial arts instruction, correct? Everybody with me? The core product we deliver is martial arts instruction. I don't care if you do day camps. There's some people who make more money with after school, but that's not our culture. I don't want to be an after school program. I don't want to be, the best anything. I don't want to do any of that. I want to be a martial arts school. That's our culture. But make no mistake, I've seen people have wild success with being a big after school day camp thing, and the martial arts is kind of second. That's cool if that's your version of success. Not for me. Once I recognized martial arts instruction was the core thing we deliver, but also our number one revenue stream. So my mindset shifted, reinventing that curriculum. We're doing it right now. I bought $10,000 worth of camera equipment. I can shoot curriculum videos on the fly. Gratefully, Marco will author them for me, and we're able to do that in real time. And you ask Marco, I shot one stripe 3 different times in the past month because we did it, we taught it, it didn't work. Right? We thought it worked and it didn't work. So we have that ability to pivot, adapt, tweak. And when you can do that in real time with curriculum, sometimes you're only going to get to that level. I was teaching the new curriculum this week and I was like, damn, I have time to spare. But really what it comes down to is the ability to drill. If I can take a single front kick and you do 45 minutes of a front kick and you feel like you've done 10 different techniques, I'm a winner chicken dinner. Right? That's really the art today, disguising the repetition. And let's go back now, level up your instructors team. If I don't have to teach 50 moves and it's simply a memorization process, which has always been the albatross in the martial arts industry, guess what? Come on. Guess what? My instructors are more empowered. If you're a 16-year-old kid and all you have to teach is a front kick, and I give you 10 drills and you simply go through all 10 drills, right? You're more empowered. If you're out there trying to teach 50 moves in a pumse or a kata or something, we've set them up to fail. And so that's what I'm already witnessing with the new curriculum. The goal is to have a systematic way of them having drills to move from drill 1, drill 2, drill 3, drill 4. And we can do a whole show on curriculum design, but we fundamentally center everything around CAPS. KAPS. Write it down. KAPS. Knowledge. They know the technique. So I teach it to them. Accuracy. I don't care how good a technique is. If you can't hit the target, it means nothing. You do that with little small clappers and little small hand targets, things of that nature. I can do that on a drill where nobody makes contact, but they're punching directly to the nose, right? At a distance. So that can power the bags. No brainer. Bags are big kicking shields. Speed's an easy one. Who's the first one to do three of them? Ready, strike, right? I can use a pull noodle, punch this pad, and don't let me hit your hand when you throw that punch. They automatically rechamber and they punch faster. So it really becomes every drill you design centers around caps. And for my team, it's huge. It's huge for my team because they get that. And over time, they understand this is knowledge, this is accuracy, this is power, and this is speed. And that's another story. So that's the tip of the iceberg, folks, for leveling up your instructors team. I didn't get into the full on instructor level yet because I really believe if you double back right now and clean up the how you nurture them into your instructors program, how you view your instructors, and how you manage their workload, right down to not doing this 2 hours a month thing, stop it. 45 minutes a week, right after a class they've already finished conveniently to do that. Okay. And in exchange, they give you an hour. Cool. So put in your takeaways. And while we wait for your takeaways, again, I want to share with you we have It's Time Live Freedom coming up. In November, only 20 spots, something you plan for now. Book it now, right now. Make the commitment now because success is something you plan for. And there's no environment like this in the martial arts. None. There's not a learning environment like this. We've done this for 9 years. This is our 9th year, and it sells out every time. Every time, every time. We eat good. We cry together. There's a lot of breakthroughs, and you will walk away with a skill set that you don't have today. You will level up every aspect of your mindset and your skill set that you don't have today. I know that. I know that because I get better every time I facilitate it. So it's got that thing. Put the link in there for them, Marco, please. Hey, excellent martial arts. One of my favorite, Ralph, all the way from Sweden. Sweden. I always get that Sweden or Switzerland. You know, I always do that, Ralph. I think I have a mental block on that just so I can ask Ralph the same question 1,000 times. I love you, Ralph. You know, he's one of the people I'm very proud of. Had 60 something students. Me and Ralph spent long nights together just talking and now he's got 200 and what? What are you at? 275, Ralph? Where are you today? And he's living the life of his dreams. Every time I see him vacation with his family somewhere, I'm just tickled pink. I'm so happy to be part of your success, Ralph. I really, really am. And I love his girls. The youngest one, I gave her so much grief when she was here, but it was my way of endearing myself to her, you know? Just this is my way of endearing, but I messed with her a little bit when she was here on vacation. But we had such a good time, huh, Ralph? Of course, our It's Time group mentoring. I'm very happy. You know, we've nurtured it slowly. I wanted Jason and Monique and Marco to find their own voice so they just don't regurgitate me. And I was listening to Marco today do his presentation on branding to the It's Time group mentoring. I think all he said is, as Brannon says, you must be consistent. That's all he said. Everything else he's taken and made his own. And he really got in there with that. And I'm super proud of that, Marco. So I just wanted to give you a little kudos on that. And it's unique. And I ended today's with that, the group mentoring is saying, hey, man, you are not alone. We are here for you. And if you're sitting there at midnight, whacking your head against the wall because you're working on something, we want to be there for you. There's 4 of us. We're one text away because that one moment we're there for you could be your breakthrough from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, from finally breaking 100 students and getting to 150. And in that moment, while you got momentum, if someone's not there to hold your hand and push you through, you could revert right back to the same old mindset. And that's not the key to success. Cool. So put the link in there for the It's Time group mentoring. What did Conrad add in there? Marco, what's Conrad's comment? We call it 3 tries and a high five. Yeah. See, I love it. I love it. See, Conrad gets that too. But doesn't it work so well? Because the touch point, I don't want to teach to a class of 30 people. I want to teach to 30 individuals. And those little touch points with sets of 3, sets of 3, sets of 3 going down that line, they're magic. And sets of 3. 1 is the beginning, 2 is the middle, 3 is the end of that story, of that chapter. I like it. I like it. 3 tries and a high five. I love it, Conrad. I'm going to borrow that, okay? 3 tries and a high five. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So that's the tip of the iceberg. But I hope you see that leveling up your instructor's training team is not simply drilling them over and over and over again on what it is that you're teaching in class or what's inadequate about that class. It's really understanding that demographic. Who are they? How they behave? How do they work? Because if I want an elephant to fail, I'm going to ask him to climb a tree. But if I understand who I'm working with, just like your students in cultivating effective curriculum, I can cultivate effective systems and methodologies to train a average team and make them a rock star team. And that's really the key. That's really, really, really the key to doing that, is recognizing that. Cool. So let's thank our sponsors, Marco, Tusa, Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids of Life Skills, LC Accounting, Kin Creative. All services I use passionately, all people I love passionately, and that I live life with as well as do business with. And that is the foundation of my success. Cool. So I want to thank you so much for being here today. For me personally, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my podcast, Success Never Sleeps Mindful Meditations, which are all the major platforms. Do follow me at Instagram, join our Disruptor group. Watch these episodes, share them with as many school owners as you can. People ask me all the time, what can I do, Brannon? You give so much to this industry, right? I say share it with somebody, because there's a school owner out there right now that's suffering, that's not achieving their version of success, and could be simple as a tweak, not much, just a simple thing. And hopefully we can help dispel the jaded, mindset that comes with, you go to these events, it's the same old thing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. A lot of it is, because nobody's creative. Nobody's thinking outside the box or realizing there's no box. Nobody's disruptive. Nobody's controversial. They're just putting a new bow on something from the 1990s. But with that said, if I have one finger pointed at you, I have three pointed back at me. If I'm singing that song, that it's the same old thing, maybe it's the same old mindset I suffer from. Because when I do the white belt requirements in my school, I'm always looking for something new in it. And that's the key to learning, is I'm always looking for something new. And that requires a mindset. And that mindset has been the foundation of my success for decades now. Cool? Not only emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically, but financially as well. The freedom I enjoy today is because of the financial vehicle that I have created. Hey, Master Ray Moore, Beyond Martial Arts. Better late than never, sir. Better go back and watch this episode. Share this with as many people as you can, because I think it was a great one on leveling up your instructor team. I am Brannon Beliso. Thank you, Marco. This is Success Never Sleeps. Until we talk again, please, you go out there, live your best life.